Vibhuji, we have two questions written down here from Rupak Ji. He'd like to know, if we are spiritual beings in the human existence, why is it that our mind is attracted towards the materialistic world rather than spirituality?
It's a very good question. The answer is, when we are born into this world and we start experiencing things, it is only from the darkness that the journey can be made through light. And it is only from the bindings that you can be free. So when we are born into this world, we are born into this world of limitations. Time limits us, space limits us, our own desires limit us. And it's only that the journeys of lives that we go through, they are stages of progress. For example, say we all want to go to Delhi. Many people leave at different timings. They have different connections. Someone can probably find a direct flight, and if he finds the direct flight, then with the shortest amount of problems or time, he can reach his destination. For some people who have multiple connections, the journey will be more difficult. But in the journey itself, there are different stages of journey that you are in. For someone who is just beginning his journey, has a long way to go. That means there are a lot of questions to be answered, a lot of desires to be dealt with, a lot of feelings that have to be understood. And for some person who is just about to reach his destination, he has already been through all those stages. So when we are all born into this world, it's not that everyone is born with materialistic desire. Those desires are generated as we grow into this world, But if your spiritual journey has started even before, it has started before than this life, then what happens is that the spiritual trait, if it's strong in the person, then those traits will also guide you through this life. Then automatically there will be desires, but it's not that you will be sort of influenced by those desires. Because when I travel everywhere, I get to meet a lot of people, from all walks of life, from all religions, so to speak. And I've also gone and attended a lot of functions in mosques in India, and you get to see children there also. There will be some children who will be playing, who will be laughing, who will be doing other things, but there are some children who will be engrossed in what is happening. Now the child is the same. All child want to play, they have the same tendencies. But what is this tendency, that despite this child who is seeing other children play, other children enjoying themselves according to what act of fun that they are doing, but this child is not ignoring all that, and he's sitting there and he's listening to the sermon of the person sitting in front. So it happens that different people or different souls are in different stages of their journey. For the person who's about to complete his journey, for him the material desire does not have the same influence as on a person who's starting his spiritual journey. For him, going through different stages of experiences is important to formulate his own opinion, to formulate his own belief. And for those stages of experience to get fulfilled, he has to be materialistically influenced at some point of time to realize what the material influence is and how to break away from it. So it is a process of life, it is a process of experiencing, and as our experiences or as our consciousness expands, then the change is automatically. As you grow older, it's not necessarily we go wiser as we go older, but if we are growing older with experiences, older in consciousness, and we are getting wiser than that, then automatically the influence of what is material gets limited, to the basic necessities, because even if I say, oh, I want to be very spiritual, let me give up on these clothes and I, grow my dreadlocks and I take a single piece of cloth and wrap it around myself and I go start living in the Himalayas, and I say, okay, I've lived in a cave, there's no problem over here. But still, if consciously my mind is not freed from desire, then the desire of the world will chase me back to that mountain cave also, So despite doing a lot of things, I have not done anything. Because even sitting in that cave, I'll be thinking, oh, this new thing was supposed to come out before I left, Has it come out or not? Or, I crave those desires. But there are people who are living in this world, who are fulfilling their daily duties, and you see that they are desireless. They face their problem, they face their situation, they face their circumstances, they even face negativity of this world. But within themselves, they are serene, within themselves, they are centered, and they know what they have to do. So they face all those things with a smile on their face, and they move on. So within them, there is no desire of wanting good or good things to happen to them, or no desires that materialistically they are not satisfied. Because when we say that I'm not satisfied, is also the root cause of creating desires. But when a person believes that he's satisfied, then no desire can touch him, because he's happy in the state that he's in the state that he's been put in. So it happens that different stages have different sort of influences on us, and as we progress, then the influence of the external world or the material desires slowly diminish. So it's a change, it's a process, and one should be true to one's path and one's belief and one's dedication, and then these changes happen automatically. We should not think about the changes, we should not think about the action and the consequences. We should just focus on just being a good soul, and once we do that, then all changes happen.
Are there any other questions out there that anyone would like to ask? Okay, we got one more here. In order for worldwide premies to have access to your teachings and blessings 24/7, would you consider setting up a Twitter blog?
Twitter and Facebook have been very alien to me. I have not used it. I'm basically still struggling with Hotmail and Gmail right now. So I mean it is a very good thing, but I think so the website itself has a lot of information, a lot of discourses on Maharajji and sort of Maharajji's life accomplishments, and I think so the website is also a very good access to all the activities of the ashram. It doesn't have to be my activities, but through the websites we see how each and every individual in the organization is making a difference. And I think so that is what is more important, rather than even believing all that I'm saying. You should believe in yourself, you should believe in the cause of the organization, and once we are dedicated to that, every simple act of loving and kindness that we do, we are enhancing this organization and enhancing its message, through our lives into other people, because see, we were also brought to the organization by someone who was a caring soul, who thought not about himself but rather about other people, who put the world before him, who put our suffering before him, and he saw in us that there was a level of a stress, a level of friction, and he slowly encouraged us, to come closer and closer to great people like Bhaijis and Mahatmajis, and that further encouraged us to come closer to Guru Maharajji and to the organization. So I think so this process is not dedicated to one being or one individual. I think so every component in the organization, no matter whether he's a Sevak, Bhaiji, Mahatmaji, me, Maharajji, or anyone, or all the premies put together, each one plays its own aspect and its own role, and when we are true to the message of Guru Maharajji, that's what is all that's required to do, because Guru Maharajji's message is always with you. Guru Maharajji in the form of Adi Guru is always with you. When we listen to our consciousness, it is the voice of Guru Maharajji only telling us what we must do. So I think so even before Twitter and Facebook and all these things existed, Guru Maharajji had a way of communicating with us, So we have to go to that way of communicating, because even for Twitter you need an internet connection. What if you are in a place where there is no internet connection, there is no computer, then what do we do, So one's spiritual journey should not be limited by anything, Spiritual journey is your essence, your being, and how you find your way to yourself, Guru Maharajji is a marker, it's a pointer, but the journey has to be undertaken by each and every individual, So like I said yesterday also, there are two ways of doing it, one part of our journey we fulfill. We've come close to, great souls, great people, Guru Maharajji. The second thing is being true to ourselves. Now that is what we have to do. The message is being given to us, the seed has been planted in us. Now we have to remain true to the teachings. And when you do that, then wisdom itself is present within you. It is manifested. The light of knowledge is always within you. It is manifested, So when that manifestation happens, then, there will come a stage, and I would be very happy, where you wouldn't even need to ask me questions because those questions will be answered within you. We all go through many stages of life, many challenges, and I have experienced that myself. There's so many times where there is a moment of confusion in everyone's life. There's certain experiences that happen to you that make you doubt certain things. It's happened to me also when I was in college in Bombay, and there was a time when I was traveling and we were going to the Calcutta program, and Maharajji, Mataji, all of us were in flight, and for the past 2 days I had this question in my head, and it was nagging me for quite some time. And the only thing was that I didn't want to trouble Maharajji or Mataji with it, ask them, and then they would be stressed about it. So I said, okay, eventually let me give it time and maybe the answer comes to me, But it was not happening, and we were sitting in the flight, so Mataji and Maharajji had their seats together. I was seated in a row behind them, and an IAS officer who was traveling to Calcutta for some work, he was sitting right next to me. And we started having a conversation. It started from what are you doing, what do you want to do, this, that, and he started talking about his life. And somewhere along, in that conversation, I got the answer to my question, Now how did that happen? It's, people would say it's a miracle or it's thing. I think it's God working in many ways, and it's Guru Maharajji working in many ways. Because if we genuinely send out a positive signal, like an SOS that I truly need help, then that help comes from anywhere, I had this really incredible experience in Brisbane. So there were 2 programs in Brisbane which were organized. One of them were telecasted through the live internet also, because that was the first time I think so I got to speak to Hemant also over Skype. So the first program was in somebody's house where I was staying also, and the program happened very beautifully. And the next day the program was at the local Hindu temple. So we went to the temple, and there were a lot of struggles for that program to happen, because it's what I feel that truly struggles are a test of faith. It's test of who you are, and sometimes you are tested to the limit. Why? Because whether we are pure or dedicated to our path or not, how do we know that? Till we are tested, till struggles come, till complicated choices come in our way, and we begin to think, oh, should I take the easy way out or should I remain to this path? So those are the true challenges. And what happened when the program was happening, you all know that the organization has a banner, the banner has all faiths placed in the banner. You'll see Jesus Christ, you'll see Mahavir, you'll see Gautam Buddha, you'll see Ram, Krishna. And what they had done, they had taken an image of that banner and they had put it on the flyer in Brisbane for the temple program to happen. So it was Manav Dharm Australia Society, and the banner was there, and then all the regarding information about me and the organization and everything, and the timings given. So someone went to the temple pujari and he showed them the pamphlet, and he's like, oh, now to from your temple, Islam will be preached and now from your temple Guru Granth Sahib will be preached. This is not a Hindu temple anymore or Hindu society anymore. So obviously that Pandit ji also, who's supposed to be the protector of faith, who's supposed to be the pujari, he also got waylaid, so he called the person who was organizing the program. He was the director on the temple, on the board. So he calls him, he's like, this program won't happen. So he said, how can you say this won't happen? He's like, no, if, like talking about me, if I say something about Jesus Christ, then the program will shut, like so many things they said. So then that person came up to me. There were so many challenges that we faced of doing the program. The easy way out, we could have cancelled the program, But then why did I go to Brisbane all the way, if I just wanted to cancel the program? So we remained true to our teachings, and I told him, I said, the message of spirituality is so far greater than, this religious dogmas that we've got stuck in. But if they want me to speak about Sanatan Dharma only, I will speak about Sanatan Dharma. It's the message is not different, I won't quote certain stories, I won't do certain things. And what happened, the Panditji didn't attend the program, He'll say, I'll only come in the end for the arti, because he didn't know what I'm going to say and what his reaction would be. But when the program happened, everything happened in the end. The head of the temple committee, he took the microphone immediately, and he said that, you promise me one thing, every time you come to Australia, you have to come to Brisbane. And this is an open invitation from all the people here, that whenever you are in things, so, when you are true to your path, all the problems also have a way of simplifying themselves, And if one person had the problem against the mission, and he tried to do something, he tried to, spread distrust or some sort of a darkness, amongst people, it was counteracted automatically by what we were doing. We came there to spread a beautiful message. So in that Brisbane program, when the temple program had finished, a couple came up to me and they said, we would like to talk to you for 2 minutes. So I said, what happened? They're like, no, like we had heard about you were coming, we were invited for the house program also. We were supposed to take our mother to the program, but we didn't want to go, So we made some excuse and we found out that some person from our neighborhood was also going. So we asked them that, if there's space for a carpool and if our mother can go with you. So everything got arranged. But my mother took her granddaughter, means our daughter, with them. And she's a 7-year-old daughter, who came. She attended the program and she went back to her parents and she told them something. And that's what they quoted. They said, our daughter came back, a 7-year-old girl, and she started giving a satsang in a way, She said, yesterday is a mystery, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. And the only thing that we have today, which is real and which is now, is the present. And present is called the present because it is the true gift from God. And he's like, when we heard these words from a 7-year-old daughter, we said, what is this program she went to? Like what happened to her that, a 7-year-old child is not going to talk about spirituality or religion or all those things to begin with. Then saying something so complex and such beautiful words, which has such deep meanings, that was another shock to us. So he's like, we've come here to apologize that we didn't come for the previous program, but we, after listening to our daughter, we came here, So, there are many ways of change to manifest, but all changes happen within ourselves. Like I said yesterday, what did Gautam Buddha say? He said, in the end, when the journey reached and the goal attained, the pilgrim only finds, or the traveler only finds, that he had traveled from himself to himself. The journey is no way external. Journey is only inside us. How we have to conquer our own fears, our own inhibitions, and you can only do that when you stay true to the teachings of Guru Maharaj Ji, when you stay true to the teachings, of the path. So all those things are more important, than the individual, So everyone should focus on, their being in some way or the other, when we face difficult situations, take time to think about it, analyze it, try to put yourself out of the mind, because half the time I'm only comparing situation with what I want. So my root cause becomes the problem, but I'm not seeing that, Now, like say when prasad is served, now fruits are given out, Now if I say I only want mangoes, and if apples, bananas, cherries, strawberries, all other kinds of fruits are there, then the problem is not what is being given out, The problem is what I want, that's the root cause, And it happens in India also. Someone comes, oh, program to bahut acha tha, lekin bhandara theek nahi tha. Why? Because I like halwa and bhandare mein kheer bani hui thi. So half the time it's me that is the root cause, of the problem. So sometimes when you remove the I from the problem, you can get a solution very easily, And it's incredible because when you travel different parts of the world, you meet different people, I was traveling to Australia, and in Sydney only, there's a family who's from India. They grew up with us, Urvashi, and there's a younger brother. So Urvashi went from India ages ago. She was living there. She settled her family there, and then her brother was in India. So every time his brother would come and he would be in the ashram, he would have a very nice existence. Like he would work also very nicely. We would have long discussions. He would ask me a lot of questions. But every time he would be influenced by his friends or by the outside world, his mother would come, ki, oh, he again comes home late at night, I don't know what he's doing, and this and that and everything. So I said, give him time to grow up, he has to make these decisions himself, what path he wants to take in life. And eventually he's not going anywhere away from you, all paths will eventually converge within him and he'll realize his faults. But sadly, for the great change to happen to him, he got married. That was the great change that happened to him. So after getting married, he also went to Australia, he settled there. And when I went to meet him, he's like, Shraddheji, I understand everything right now. I said, what happened? He's like, no, earlier I used to argue over everything, because, I used to think I'll win every argument, somehow. So I used to argue with my parents. I used to know I'm wrong, but I never used to keep quiet and humbly put my head down and agree to my mistakes. But it's like after I got married, I realized that I can win an argument with everyone, but not with my wife. So every argument I have with her, I just put my head down and I listen. And that simple act has made me grow tremendously, because I'm putting myself out of the situation. Earlier I would be fighting, so I was the problem. But now when I keep quiet and I listen, I'm not, having a reaction, to that problem. When I've emulated myself, then there is no problem, because the wife speaks. After some time she stops speaking and then the problem is solved. So it's like different ways, through how people learn, and experience, and for him also that experience came eventually in his life, in whatever ways it came, but it did come. And he told me, he's like, now when I'm into any situation, I think, whether I am the problem, I first, focus on that. And I try to remove myself, I try to think in third person terms, like if this would happen to someone else, what would I say to him? And then the answer comes from inside. But when I'm too focused on myself, then I do not get the answer, So the journey is individual, the journey is yours. It is not limited in any which way on external things. And the message of Guru Maharaj Ji is eternally with us. So never think that we are separate from Guru Maharaj Ji, or from his message, or from the organization, or from good souls in life. Because when you truly start seeking, when they say the time is right, the master shall come to you. It is absolutely true, When you go on this journey and you experience different things, from different ways you will meet great souls, who will help you, who will give you your answer, who will encourage you, who will push you, and then you reach your destination, you reach yourself. So Twitter, Facebook, all these things, they're also in some way limitations, but I'm sure through the websites all, the needful is updated on the website. So I think so it's a good access point to know everything what the organization is doing, what Maharaj Ji is doing. And we are slowly updating the websites to regional languages also, in Gujarati, in Marathi, in other languages. So there will be links on the main website, so it will be easier for people, who do not understand English, as per se, or Hindi, they can also access the websites. And then we are building a great archive, which will be updated regularly. So all the programs that sometimes you have missed because you cannot, be on time for the live telecast of it also, you can see it on the archives, because then you have your own time and your space and you're not bound by everything, You don't have to look up at, from your cubicle every 10 minutes that I hope my boss is not coming and I'm watching this program. Because when all the programs are telecasted in India, it's working hour over here. Everyone has to go to office and work. So it becomes very difficult, even if you want to experience the programs, and it's such a big sort of an effort is being made by so many people, Hemant is coordinating people in India, it's being coordinated from Germany, and all these things are being done. Then even we feel, that we should utilize it, but sometimes we are bound, we can't. So I think so with all these things happening and these changes happening, you will be updated with all the regular activities of the ashram.
The next question is, how do you get into a shunya state?
See, when we talk about a principle or a concept, it is very easy to have definitions to every word, but to understand the real implications of what shunya means into our lives is very difficult, See, what happens is that we are all on different stages and different aspects of life, like I said. For people who have chosen a family path, it is very difficult to talk about these concepts. Why? Because these concepts are very strong and extreme in their own nature. See, what happens is that when you are looking for the truth, there are many paths to the truth. There are many experiences through which you can realize certain aspects of yourself, which bring you closer to the ultimate reality. There is no one path which will directly take you to the ultimate reality, like in an instant, But when we talk about the philosophy of shunya, shunya means nothing. It also means a state of no mind, But when I have a family, when I have a child, when I have certain responsibilities, on me, experiencing this state could have multiple effects, multiple ripples, For the individual person, it could be very good because he's experiencing something else. But if a person is in the state of no mind all the time, then even he forgets his family, he forgets his responsibilities, he forgets so many other things, Then also you cannot have spiritual satisfaction. Why? Because your duty, in a way, your kartavya to your family is being missed out on, Spirituality is a balance of all things. It's a union of all things. It is not going in one extreme path and saying that, okay, I have attained spirituality, because I'm doing this extreme thing. I go to the Kumbh Mela almost every time, wherever it happens. And you see people what they are doing. There's one person who hasn't kept his hand down for 15 years, Now, for him, maybe it is his journey, because he's a sannyasi. He can afford to keep his hand up for 15 years, because he doesn't have to type, probably. Doesn't have to work that way. He's not doing a job. He doesn't have family life. He doesn't have to do so many other things. But that is his dedication to his path, what he believes in. He believes in that all his past evil action, evil thoughts, by the suffering that he is incurring on himself, is sort of will remove, it's a penance for him, to do that. Now if you say, I also want to attain that state and I want to put my hand up for 15 years, the first thing is that you will be fired from your job. If you go there walking in like this and you're talking to your boss like this, then without any job, then all the other problems come into being, How are you going to pay the mortgage? How are you going to pay your bills? Then the philosophy of shunya will not be that attractive, because shunya means zero only at the end of the day, So the thing is that certain practices are meant for certain stages of life, and they should be only incurred in that, and with certain criterias around us, If we are in a family life, dedicate your life to a family life. There have been many spiritual souls who have come from family lives, Mirabai was there. She fulfilled her duties as a queen, as a princess, as all those things. It's not that she also, gave up on everything. But then later on, when her devotion, when she received knowledge, then the separation happened, where she was totally engrossed in the love of God. But before that, she was also a Rani, she was also a Patrani. How did the change happen in her also? That there is also a very beautiful story, But the thing is that before that change, every person exists in their own, sort of their field that they are living in. And being true to all things is required of a spiritual being. If you are a wife, then being true to your husband is also required to grow spiritually. You can't say, oh, I'm true to God, but I lie to my husband. Because then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So that's what the philosophy of shunya is, a very ancient philosophy, but it is based on total renunciation on all things, on all aspects of life. But this I cannot do when I'm living a materialistic life, or I'm living a family oriented life, because my family requires certain duties of me, certain commitments of me, which are also important to fulfill. Once I have fulfilled all those commitments, then I can move on to higher commitments in life. So only when your spiritual and your materialistic life are in balance, do we attain spirituality. But for some people, this balance is not easily attained. That is why they'll take the path of renunciation. They give up their homes, they come to ashrams, they live. Some people even don't live in ashrams, they go into the mountains, seeking spiritual contemplation only on their own merits. So for them, shunya philosophy becomes very prevalent. Why? Because like I said, the mind creates its own desires, and the mind's maya is called the mahamaya. Why? Because the world that we live in has its own illusion. But it's easy to break up from this illusion. I'm worried about how I have to pay my car, car bills. Sell your car off. You have no car, no bills, In the same way, when people renunciate, they renunciate also for these causes. Why? Because the struggle of the world is so strong. I have to take care of my house, I have to take care of this, I have to take care of that. That within those struggles, they get hardly any time to focus on their spiritual growth. So when a person realizes that all these things are hampering my spiritual growth, then I need to renunciate from it. So people say, okay, living in an ashram, living a monastic life, wearing simple clothes, you are cutting away so many root causes of desires to begin with. I'm wearing, one clothed robe. I'm not looking at, other clothes or, other fashion that is coming out, and it's not creating an influence on me, So in the same way, this is how progress happens, But for a person who's already taken that extreme path, now if he's living in the mountains, living in the cave, and he's still thinking, his mind is still attached to worldly things, worldly commodities, then it becomes very difficult for him to still dedicate his path. So that's where the Shunya philosophy comes in, where you negate the mind from all things, from thought itself, so that desire itself don't manifest. But tell me, it's so difficult to just be rid of thought also, because if you are sitting and you close your eyes also, the mind is in a constant flux, It's not by closing your eyes or breathing deeply the mind can be still. Mind will think about other things. Okay, 5 minutes I might be very quiet, then the 6th minute the mind will create something, the 7th minute it will create something else, So to go extremely beyond the mind, the Shunya philosophy is used, where you stop paying attention to your own thoughts, So you detach from your being also, that is going Shunya. That you don't get prevalence to any other thing happening around you, any activity external or internal, But that is very difficult to do, I mean, when you have certain responsibilities in life. So Shunya philosophy is very extreme philosophy, and it's meant for people who have taken up a certain path, Like there are many forms of yoga, there's Hatha yoga, where you sort of like a small child becomes stubborn, and he'll do anything, to get a chocolate in his hand, he'll cry, he'll create a lot of tantrums, he'll try to be nice, he'll make false promises, to his parents because he just wants to get that chocolate bar. So sometimes Hatha yoga also people apply to be stubborn, in their beliefs. They're like, okay, we won't eat till we get spiritual satisfaction. If you won't eat after a certain point of time, you will die. Then also there is no spiritual satisfaction. But what happens is sometimes the mind becomes so, bowed down that you want that freedom despite anything else, Because different people go through different stages of life also, different sufferings, For some person who's born in Bombay slums, he's viewing life very differently, Probably ending his life is also a solution that will come into his mind at some point of time, because he's seeing poverty, he's seeing the degradation of human society all around him constantly. So for his journey, his path is very different than the path that you are experiencing. You've experienced a different side of life. For you to maintain that balance is easier. For you to understand those concepts is easier. You've brought up in an educated environment. For many people, education is not possible. But that doesn't mean they can't still be spiritual, in nature. So the Shunya philosophy is a very extreme philosophy. It only to be undertaken, if you are willing to give up on a lot of things, So the mind has to be made up first, And the Shunya philosophy also doesn't need to get followed. Like I'm saying, if you have balance, if you have an inquisitive mind, and you're focusing that mind within yourself, then all those experiences that you will experience there is also present over here, in this life also. It is not that we have to be in monastic robes to experience God. God is on your dedication, Every person who's experienced God has experienced it through his purity. So the struggle is to make yourself pure, in any given state or circumstances you are, whether you're in family life, whether you're in spiritual life, whether you're in a monastic life. Even if I'm in a monastic life and I'm not true to myself, I'm not true to the knowledge, then I'm not going to have any experience. And even if I'm walking the Shunya path and I'm not true to that path, then also there is no experience, So the main thing is being dedicated to the knowledge which is present within you. And if you do that, then all paths merge within you. There are no different paths, there are no different directions, there are no different teachings.
The next one's, what is the difference between me and myself in terms of spirituality?
See, when I say I, like I said, the I is it's constituted of multitudes of things. I have a name, people are attached to their names. When we were young, we used to make fun of each other's name just to irritate, the other friend, the other person. And some people would really get irritated. Oh, speak my name correctly. Because the attachment of the name is great. Some people are attached to their fame, to their position, to their circumstances, to their social status. So these are attachments of the ignorant mind, where we are valuing certain things and we believe that the fulfillment of those certain things is my happiness. So if someone praises my name, if my name is being praised, then I'm truly happy, or that's something good happening to me. So these all are longing and attachments of the ignorant mind. When the mind is getting spiritually charged, the mind realizes that there is something beyond all those points of importance that I have given. That I have a name, but I'm something beyond that name also. I have a position, but I'm something beyond that position also. That position does not sort of encompass my life or define me as who I am. So slowly when you question and you begin to find those answers, you go deeper and deeper within yourself. And then you realize that this name is only a physical name, which I have, which sort of makes me known into this world. But my existence is beyond this word, because even if no one is taking my name, I am still existing, So what is my true existence? Then when you reach deeper and deeper into the layers of your own consciousness, you reach a place which is known as Chaitanya, which is your true self. Now see, words are very difficult because, words also sometimes can be a very limiting factor, See, when I try to say, okay, what is love? Explain love to me. Now so many people from so many innumerable number of time, poets, philosophers have pondered on this question. But till today we don't have a definition of love. You ask someone, okay, how do you know you are in love? So the person will say, you will know. That is the answer. When you are in love, you will know. So there is no definition. So certain words are beyond definition because they are experience. What love is an experience, is something that you share between two individuals, and that experience can never be put into words. Like you all will go back home and someone will ask you, oh, how was the program? We'll say it was good, someone will say it was very good, but beyond that, the experience that you are experiencing cannot be put into words. Why? Because it is beyond definition, so to speak. So even the concept of truth, or what truth is, what you are, is beyond definition. It can only be experienced. But to help a person find its way, for guidance, words are put into place and definitions given to them. Then we say, okay, love should be unconditional. Now unconditional also has its own meaning, its representation. When you combine it with love being unconditional, then love takes a whole new meaning. But when we say unconditional love, we all understand it. Okay, love should be unconditional without any conditions. But who is loving unconditionally in this world? Love is set on conditions, in so many ways. You are doing this to me, okay, now I know you love me. I mean, we need proof. We need some sort of a proclamation that, you don't say I love you 10 times to me, that means you don't love me. Now the other person is doing everything for you, but he still has to say 10 times I love you in order for you to believe that the person loves you. So that's where the mind, if it's ignorant, it creates all complications within itself, Now what is true love? True love is an experience which is beyond all understanding. Sometimes when we look at great souls also, we say, oh, they were very rude in their nature, Like, why? Because see, the love that they have for the world is very different from the love that we have for the world. Our love has boundaries, Someone loves his family, but not the neighbor's family, Some person will love, okay, their family, their extended family, but not a person from another religion. For some person, that love flows to their community, you know. Okay, I love myself, I love my community. Some people, they love all people of their religion, you know, but there are still restrictions, you know. I will love people of my religion, but not from the other religion. When I don't show the same love for them, I might care for them, I might try to help them, but the same feeling that manifests for my community does not manifest for the other community. So here, love is not unconditional. It's based on condition. If you are from my community, I will love you a little more, and if you are from another community, I will love you a little less, but I am still loving you. So all these restrictions are there. So when we love differently. We love with, you know, differences. But when a spiritual person loves the world, there are no differences. So his love cannot be seen with our eyes and the way we see, you know, love, because his love is all encompassing, and we haven't experienced that, so we do not understand his love, you know, because his love is for everyone, you know. So there are no individuals which are more important than the other. So automatically, when the wise man speaks, he speaks for everyone, and you say, okay, he spoke, but where is my individual message in it? You know, he didn't look at me individually, he didn't ask me, oh, how are you? Then, you know, this spiritual person is very rude. But see, this is also our ignorance which is creating all these things, you know. The message of the masters are for everyone, and they've been for everyone since time immemorial. And since time to come, you know, many things will change, but messages of the masters will always remain. Their truth will always remain, you know. So these things have to be understood, you know. So, I mean, it's more important to not get trapped within words, you know, within certain things, and to experience yourself for what you are. So the ignorant mind creates a separate self, which is I, me, myself, and within that definitions we have, you know, like my name, my position, my place, my authority, my so many things. And beyond that, when you give up all these things, and in the end what will remain when you've given up on your name, your fame, your pride, your anger, your ignorance, your hatred, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Maya, Moh, Ahankar, you know, certain flaws that are there in human nature. And when you remove that and you perfect your human nature, what remains there is your true self, you know, is true consciousness. So that is present within everyone. It just has to be, you know, found. You know, a coin that is left you know, in sand for a lot of time can be covered by it, but just because you cannot see it does not mean the coin does not exist or it's not there, you know. It has to be found, you know. So when you remove that layer of dust, the coin is ever present there, you know, and it is found again. It was never lost, you know, it was always present, it was hidden. So in the same way, your true self is hidden from you, you know. When the years and years of all the limitations are removed from the self, you know, through practice, through meditation, through realizing who you are, then the true self automatically shines. And there is no definition of that, you know. It's what each individual is deep within themselves, you know. It cannot be explained, it cannot be defined. If it could be, then it would already been written by someone in a book or, you know, or in some thesis or some theory, you know, ages ago, you know. But if it's not written, that means it is beyond words. Yeah.
Shri Vibhuji Maharaj ki jai. Just before we move on to darshan and prasad, I'd just like to say a few quick thank yous. Firstly, start off with the South London Nepalese Society for all their help that they did yesterday, for a great satsang. Also, all the families that helped out yesterday and have helped out today, all the volunteers that helped out, everyone who's sponsored and given prasad and donations, and one big thank you to obviously Hemantji, who's been providing these webcasts, not only here but also people in India providing it, and not only for these satsangs but the satsangs that he's been doing over the past year, and we hope that he can continue with this, giving Maharaji and Shraddheya's blessings for many years to come. Once we follow on from darshan, can I ask that everyone from the front to please come ahead, and then afterwards can we have everyone from the chairs. Satgurudev Maharaj ki jai.